Okay, mic check. Make sure everything is okay. Okay, everything looks like it is green lighted. What's going on, guys? It is iSlyCoop88, also known as Steve, and welcome to the third and final class guide in the Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. Today we're going to be talking about the Thaumaturge. I thought it was Thaumaturge, although some people have mispronounced it that way actually, but it's pronounced Thaumaturge or Thaumaturge. It's a bit of a tongue twister, but this is basically the mage and or magician class of the game. Probably the hardest to master. And fun little fact, because I looked up what it actually meant, was in it, because it says an occult specialist. Because when you create a character with this, it says an occult specialist that emphasizes offensive and defensive spells and, tricks and illusions. But what this actually is, the name itself is actually, it says a purveyor slash performer of miracles, basically a magician. And it says that actually, specifically thaumaturges were actually Celtics and mystics that used science and there we go. For some odd reason, my throat was right there. I hate that feeling when you go to talk and your throat is clogged up, you know what I mean? It's just it's just right there. It's choking you. But these are basically mystics and or people that practiced magic that used science, alchemy, and mathematics. So they're a very scientific kind of magic, person, if you will. And I found that kind of a little bit interesting because that does tie in to what the Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing is about. Magic versus science. And, does science go too far? And I found that kind of interesting that, Neocore Games actually looked that up and then found a way to incorporate that into the game. It's just a neat little tidbit that I thought was interesting. But we're going to go with the only thaumaturge that I actually have, which is Harry. Oh, excuse me. And we're going to go into what's in one. Guys, I will tell you, I've been playing Van Helsing 2. Just testing out, how the second game compares to the first. I can tell you right now, this game is nothing compared to the second one. The second one, they amped it up to 11. It's holy crap, levels of amazingness. And unfortunately, I had wanted to, before I finished this class guide, I wanted to create a hardcore character to be able to, the one life run, as they call it in games, where if your character dies, it's permanent. I got all the way to the final boss, sped run the entire game, and I ended up dying, at the final boss, so I gotta restart all over again to do that. It's the very last trophy that I need before I can platinum the first game here completely. Not that most of you guys care, but I'm throwing that out there before I get into the actual guide stuff. Just thought I would share my pain with people that have played Diablo 3 and have lost their hardcore character. You guys know what I'm talking about. That, it's painful. It's soul-crushing. But anyway, let's look at the abilities that we have for the Thaumaturge. And look at, all the different aspects that they have. Now, obviously, you got all the different adept things, including the arcane. Oh, excuse me. Stuff to regenerate your mana, which that would be good for another build. If you're somebody who uses their mana a lot for this class or magic classes, this is a pretty good perk to have, but I never had a problem with it. Hey, Lewis. I never had a problem with it, guys, because, and I'll show you the perks. One of the perks that I got was Enchanted Body, which it regenerated by 20% both my mana and my health. So I never had a problem with, like, manta distribution, so to speak. You know what, Lewis? I'm doing pretty good today, man, but I'm flat out exhausted. I'm ready for, like, the summer weather to go away. All my days feel like they're running together. Like, even right now, I just feel, I feel haggard. But otherwise, I'm good. I mean, I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, but it's a little bit difficult, I won't lie. But getting back to the task at hand here, guys. Yeah, basically, I'll run you guys through all. You guys know the deal. You've seen the other two, like, class guides. Show you the abilities, give you some gameplay, show you how each power works, and all will be well. So the first one that we got is Energy Bolt, which is your basic generic move. You basically just throw, like, you know, mystic bolts of lightning at people. Yeah, it is what it is, Lewis. But you throw 2 bolts of electrical energy, and they're like seekers, so like you don't gotta worry about if you necessarily miss your target, because you rarely do. And as you guys saw, you guys were like, okay, you know, what was with the swirly bits? As you upgrade it to like the mastery levels, you can have like a damage output thing, and these are what you guys see. This is what you guys see swirling around my character. These, when you get like the level 10 like mastery level, after you like fully upgrade this ability, you get what's called Spirit Bolt. So it's basically every 5 seconds you'll have a circling bolt that basically will automatically seek out enemies. So it's like an early preemptive, you know, strike against enemies, which I thought was cool. And just various things, you know, like increasing how many bolts you fire, you know, it recharges 5% of your mana, you know, paralyzes enemies for a couple of seconds, whatever. You get the gist. Ice Shards is not an ability I've actually used, necessarily. And I'll kind of show you guys why, because I don't really need to hit an enemy to show you guys. Like, I'll just show you. Like, it's, you know, you shoot Ice Shards out at like a degreeing angle, but I've never had to use it because it wasn't, in my opinion, the most effective of like all of my starter abilities. And just to show you guys this I thought was actually cool. When I was doing the Arcane Mechanic Guide, I talked about how I probably wasn't going to use Spring-Heeled Jump. Spring-Heeled Jump, to me, is more like a travel-based ability, like it just moves you forward. So it's kind of like a quick travel thing, kind of like, you know, Ink Jump is here. Kind of like Ink Jump is... I cannot speak today. Just like Ink Jump is. There we go. And Ink Jump is basically kind of like your teleportation ability. I call it the Nightcrawler move. You know, the Nightcrawler from X-Men move. But you basically just blink forward and you can upgrade it to, you know, do like some damage when you take off and when you come back. But basically just bing! You just basically surge forward, like teleport a couple of feet. And of course you got a thing to maximize your mana because you are playing as a mage character, so they give you that. Control, I'm not going to bother showing you guys control because usually when I do it for an enemy they just die quickly anyway, which to me, I would get this just to unlock the other abilities, but because at first I thought, ooh, you know, mind control, I can charm enemies into helping me fight other bad guys, and it's a frickin' useless skill. It's not. Even at maximum level, your minions that you charm are just gonna die like that. Like they're not gonna be very helpful. Let me show you guys just what Mystic Bolt looks like. Like, see this? I like this. It's a good generic move. So Energy Bolt, definitely good. Ice Shards, I would just unlock it just for the other abilities, but that's just me. If you're somebody who likes doing those kinds of moves, that's cool. Ink Jump is just for if you want to strategize and remaneuver. Max Mana just increases your mana pool. Focus damage is a passive skill. Basically, all of the mystic staffs or spell cuffs that your character wears is just basically a booster for the damage. It's basically a damage booster for him, which I like because, you know, especially for a character that's like a... What was it that they refer to it as? They refer to it as a glass cannon kind of class. So for a glass cannon kind of class like this, you know, it's good to have like a damage booster that won't let you die quite so quickly. And I'll show you guys what Thunderbolt looks like. Thunderbolt... hang on. It's... Oh, there we go. Whoa! Okay, so as you guys saw, you know, Thunderbolt, do it again. Basically, Thunderbolt is a chargeable move. It's basically a charging lightning bolt maneuver, so like you saw how big the cloud got as I held down the button. So it's just a giant lightning strike that you can charge up, and eventually will let go after a while. I know I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to cover this stuff. Plus, I'm kind of a little jittery and amped up from the coffee. So, we covered Mystic Bolt, we covered Ice Shards. Don't need to cover these because they're basically just damage booster things. Covered this. Pretty much told you guys about this. Like I said, don't... I mean, you can use it, but don't be surprised if it's not worth your time. Ink Jump is good for if you want to remaneuver. Rage just increases your rage. Elemental damage just increases, you know, the elemental damage of all of your attacks. I'll show you a Spool of Energy, which, if you guys have played Diablo 3, this is basically the Ray of Light move that the Crusader uses. It's literally like the same thing. It's just a moving column that damages enemies, you know, just obliterates them, follows them on track. You can see it's following me. I'll even show you, it follows you if it's not following any enemies, or it vaporizes enemies. Like, it's certainly not a bad maneuver, and I'll show you guys this one. This one is actually called, this is like the Fantal Aid. You basically summon an ethereal werewolf that will just... I call this my crowd control maneuver alongside Spool of Energy. Like, this is my 1-2 punch combo. And let me go over here to tricks. Yeah. Phantasmal Aid. There we go. Yeah, it's to summon an illusionary ally for 20 seconds, but you basically summon like a werewolf, and this thing is incredible. And actually, when it dies, it causes an explosion. So, even after it dies, it still takes out enemies. And I call this my crowd control maneuver, guys, because it obliterates enemies. I'm not even gonna lie about that. It just obliterates enemies to such a degree that you're like, holy crap. Like, I ripped through enemies once I started, you know, once I started using this, I started obliterating enemies, like, left and right. It was insane. So, Spool of Energy, we're gonna go with Blindness, because I'm curious what that looks like. Do that again. Okay.
I can't do that.
Okay, so that... Okay, I like that. It's like a giant, bright, shining light, so it basically, it's basically like it debuffs enemies to not be able to hit you, or it makes them kind of stand stunned, basically. And I'm going to show you guys what Firewall looks like. Like, that's basically Firewall right there. And some of you are like, oh, that looked like a line. Yeah, you hold down the button and you use the touchpad to basically... You use the touchpad to basically create like a wall of fire, which Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not. I, in the past, don't mind it, but it's just really hard to use. Because sometimes when you use the touchpad, it's extremely sensitive, like super sensitive. So you don't really always hit your mark. You kind of have to step back behind it. Or it's so far off that it's like a... I call it a roll of the dice maneuver, because sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't. Boiling blood, I would not recommend. I really would not recommend. Because you do damage over time with your enemies, but what happens is, because it says you also take damage from the strain and cannot move, I thought, oh, your health goes slowly down. No, your health will drain super fast. Like, this move will actually kill you if you have it for more than a millisecond. So I would not recommend boiling blood to anybody. I would just only use it to unlock other abilities, just like control and, you know, just like ice shards. Because it's just like, you die, like, almost instantaneously using that move, and it's ridiculous. Anything else that I need to cover? Okay, so we're gonna go and we're gonna deduct points, because I'm going to show you guys the rest of these.
Road, you know.
So we're going to deduct points so I can show you guys. I'll show you Blizzard, Confusion, Electrical Discharge. What do I need for this? I need one in Boiling Blood. Okay. And I'll show you guys mirror images. We'll do one for Sluggish Time. Painlessness. You become impervious to pain for a short time. Okay, that's just like an active buff. It basically just... You hit it and it basically makes you invulnerable for a couple of seconds. Kind of curious about Shackles. Destructive Mana Absorption. Let's... Okay. Scorching Footsteps. Mana Destruction. Excellent. Let's move on to another one. Am I able to... Oh, nope. I need one more. I need one more. There we go. Unnatural Terror. Okay. And I'll just show you guys this little ditty here. Oh, I have to actually... Excuse me, I didn't realize I had to actually do this. Okay, let's go up against a wall here. And while I'm here, I'll show you guys Swirling Void, which is another one of my favorite maneuvers. A slow-acting ball. This thing, I call this the mob killer move. Just because, like, holy crap. You are basically taking an arcanic black hole, a literal arcanic black hole, and you're just slowly moving it through mobs of enemies. Like, just obliterating the crap out of them. In Sluggish Time, basically all enemies around me are going to move super, super slow, and so are my attacks, but I'm moving at regular speed. So I will... Like, I'll show all this in a second, but I want to show you guys why I said avoid this, because... Oh, it only works when I'm targeting enemies, but you'll see in a second why I don't recommend it. Any that I can show that I don't necessarily need to test against enemies. does that do? Confusion. Enemies within 4 meters of the target area are slowed and struck with sense of vulnerability. They also have 10% chance to become friendly towards you, attacking other enemies, those who gain their bonus. Okay, so basically, you're just confusing the crap out of your enemies and they can't attack you. I'll show you guys Blizzard. Blizzard is probably... like, so basically within an area you just have icicles and other things drop down on your enemies. I just think that that's like a cool feature. It's a cool little area of effect move. There we go. I was waiting for like, I was like, man, this thing is taking forever on cooldown. Okay, I face this direction, but it drops over here. I'll have to do this when I'm around enemies, because it's not doing how I wanted it to do. So, okay, covered these. I played a small bit of it, and I didn't really, like, go in depth into it, but I figured since I'm going through the second game that I would just start doing like guides and show people like a little bit of gameplay of like, you know, there's this class and this is kind of how it works, and just kind of do like a speed run type guide where I just kind of show people a little bit of, you know, there's this game and, you know, X, Y, and Z, it does this thing. Show you guys mirror image. Mirror image, you can use mirror image, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just because your clone kind of dies very quickly. No, this is not the second game. I'm currently playing the second game in my own free time. This is the first. Yeah, see, your clone dies. So, I mean, if you guys want to add, like, mirror image for, like, this run, it's cool, but I kind of felt disappointed because it's not like the mirror image that the wizard has, necessarily, in Diablo 3, where it felt like you actually had, like, powerful companions working with you. It's like, it's... yeah, the second game, yeah, when I go into the second game, which I will be doing advanced class guides for that, guys, after I complete the game as all 3 classes. Those are insane. You think that some of these skills in all 3 of these videos are insane? Wait till I do number 2's, like, class guides. Holy crap, they amped it up to 11 for 2. Like, give you guys an example. You can, when you play as the hunter class, you can summon wisps. You have like a grapple snare that you can throw at enemies and just group them all together. And you even can transform into a werewolf. But I'll show that when I get to that guide. I'll show you guys that, like, that guide. Like, they give you abilities that when I first started playing the second game, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to do a second set of class guide videos when I'm done with this. Like, it's... okay, let's go with electric discharge. So that's mirror image, swirling void. Show you guys what electrical discharge like. Now see, this probably is one of my other favorite maneuvers. Basically, it's a giant electrical sphere that you can just plant or put near enemies, and it will basically branch out and shock enemies for up to 6-7 meters. So it's basically kind of just like one of those like standing, like enemy killing type maneuvers. I'll actually show you guys. Like, I'll show you guys how a lot of these... I probably should have been out in the field, like, showing you guys a lot of the gameplay for this stuff, but I didn't think about it. Mainly because... oh, wait a minute, do I have... let me set respawn enemies. There we go. That way I can, like, show you guys, like, a lot of what... like, how a lot of this stuff works. Like I should have done minutes ago in the video. I'm sure some people are like, okay, it's cool that you're showing us all this, but can we actually see it in action? My brain's like all over the place right now, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get this guide video done. It's the last one. It's like, and then I'm like, you know, it's like I really don't want to have to do... Oh, wait a minute. Do I have Katarina set to ghost mode? Okay, yeah, she's in ghost mode. Good. Actually, they reference your dad fighting the vampire princes. This is an alternate Van Helsing history where Dracula never existed, but rather your dad stopped, like, the vampire princes. Like, what I'll actually do, Lewis, is let me finish up this class guide, Lewis, and then you can follow me into the next video, because I'll probably play as my hardcore character for a bit. And I'll kind of explain, like, the lore and stuff to you, like, how they set this game up, but... Because I don't want to run any more minutes than I need to, because everybody else, you know, this is a class guide and gameplay thing, so I'll cover all that in a second. But let me run through this first. So this is Electric Discharge. I love this move. Like, see, shooting like bolts of electricity, just, it's insane. It's also, yeah, I'll explain it to you in a second, but let me run through the class guide, because it's already like almost 30 minutes, and this is a little longer than I really would have liked for the video to kind of run. Like, see, this is why I told you guys I would not do Boiling Blood, because notice how quickly I died before the enemies even got to me. So, not even worth it just to... It's only good to basically get other skills out of the way. Like, if you want to do your builds. So, that's... Like I said, kind of disappointed, because I'm like, oh, I can boil the blood of my enemies, and... No. I can't. So, okay, showed you guys electrical discharge, I showed you guys, you know, blizzard. I've already shown you guys firewall, the energy bolts, I've already shown you that, shown you confusion. Confusion just is basically just going to be a debuff move. I definitely like electrical discharge. I definitely would keep that in other classes. Swirling void, which actually I'll show you guys in a second. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. I know some of you are kind of like, you know, okay, you know, you're dragging on here a bit, Steve. I'm explaining a lot of this stuff to you guys because I find it interesting, I find it cool, but I promise I'm gonna get through this as quickly as I can. So, bam! There is... Which move was that? And that, guys, is Sky Blast. You basically summon a small meteor to the ground. It kind of works in the same way as artillery for the arcane mechanic. Like, basically, you just summon a meteor that comes down and blasts enemies in a group attack. Extremely powerful, extremely cool move. And I'm gonna show you guys. Okay. You know what? I'm not even mad at this, actually. Scorching Footsteps. Or Scorching Footprints. You know what? I'm not actually mad about that. That actually is a pretty useful ability. That's actually better than Firewall, actually. See, now this has me thinking. I'm like, okay, you know, this is actually better than Firewall. I could actually use this for a lot of different setups. So, okay, let's... Oh, I don't want that. Okay. So let's expel... Oh! Okay. I like that move. That's not bad. So that's an AoE, like, oh boy, now I got the hiccups and I'm choking half to death. Just, bleh. Okay, so that's a cool AoE attack. So let me, like, see, I'll show you guys. Like, see, that's the time one. So you're adapting time. Like, see, that is Swirling Void right there. So let me. And that is the column. So I'm just running through these, just showing you guys like how insane some of these abilities are, but also like trying to get through quickly because I didn't realize I was taking this long. So Swirling Void, showed you guys Mirror Image, and I'll show you its practicality just for the sake of it. So covered electrical discharge. I'm moving through this quickly, guys, because I know some of y'all are looking at me like, oh god, you know, when are you going to be done, Steve? I'm explaining through these powers, but I'm also going to show you guys real quick, and then I'll stop the video right there. We're going to get through this, guys, I promise. I swear, I'm going to have it done. Okay then, so I'll show you guys Phantasmal Aid. Like, I just love that for some reason. Just the fact that you summon like an ectoplasmic werewolf. That's actually really interesting. Okay, so depending on the timing, I should summon multiple mirror images. Okay. Alright. Maybe I'll eat crow on that one. Maybe I guess the time that I used it, I wasn't really like fully taking advantage of the abilities. That actually makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Okay, I'll eat crow on that one, guys. I think when I used Mirror Image that one time, I wasn't... It's not that it won't be useful towards... Because I'm thinking in-game, like when I'm going to face Professor Fulmigati and stuff in this game. I'm just thinking, okay, this may or may not be useful in-game. But looking at it, I'm like, okay, maybe I can do, like, a couple of different variations of things that would actually probably offset and off-kilter a lot of that stuff. So, okay, Mirror Image might actually be good if you're looking for, like, a summoner-type build. So, okay, Mirror Image, electrical discharge, showed this, showed all of this. So. Yeah, I know, I can't carry a tune in a bucket, don't laugh at me. Phantasmal Aid, Scorching Footprints, Destructive Mana Absorption, Sluggish Time, Sky Blast. So all I got left is Unnatural Terror and Shackles. Let's see how those play. And I'm not going to bother showing you Arcane Healing, because I already showed you that for the Hunter. So this is basically just a move from the Hunter that they added to the Thaumaturge. The Thaumaturge, as some people have called it. Shackles. Okay, what did that do? That didn't do anything. Okay, Shackles. Enemies within a circular area are slowed to the speed of the slowest enemy among them. Well, that's a frickin' useless ability. Like, why would you I am dumbfounded by this. I mean, it'd be useful if they were facing, like, you know, Igors and stuff, but still, like, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. That, I actually kind of feel a little mad about that now. Okay, what does unnatural terror do? All enemies within 3 meters around you will run away in panic for 3 seconds. This may be reduced by powerful enemies. The most powerful may be immune to it altogether. Okay, so it's just a scare move. Alright, let me regain control of the battlefield here. There we go. So let's go back to the lair here. How you doing, Professor Toad? And no, that's not me being an a-hole. That is literally the character's name. His name is Professor Toad. So, okay, I managed to speed run through that a little bit towards the end, maybe rushed it, but I spent a little more time than I probably should had. Or maybe I'm right on track to where I should have been. I like being thorough, and I like showing and explaining a lot of these abilities, especially in games like this and Diablo and stuff. I figure it's something new and fun and interesting. I figured it'd be something new and fun and interesting for you guys. Not just for this, but maybe like, you know, Diablo 3, like showing like different builds and class guides. Like, and showing you guys like some of the builds that maybe I have for certain characters that kind of work for me. But anyway, guys, let me make sure one last time. Okay, I covered this, covered all of this. Yeah, okay. Making sure that I covered all of the moves and or explained everything, and it looks like I did, guys. Okay, guys, so that is the third and final game, final guide. So that is the final guide, guys, for the Thaumaturge and all the other classes in the Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing. If you guys have not watched the previous 2 vids of my class guides for the Hunter and the Arcane Mechanic, you guys can go check that out. But that is all 3 classes for Van Helsing 1 and 2. Hopefully, if they take the third and final game and actually port it to PS4, because they got it on Xbox One right now, but I'm hoping PS4 will get an Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 3 release, and I'll probably play through that with all 6 classes, and then I'll do a guide, and that will be fun, guys, because those 6 classes are insane, from the Protector, which is a modern-day knight with shield and with sword and shield, to the Phlogistoneer, which is basically a steampunk-powered mech suit, to the Constructor, which will probably be the first class that I play with, which basically you create not only mechanical weapons of destruction, but you have a floating gun platform. Don't know what I mean? Check out some videos on YouTube. I'm hoping that it will be ported to PS4 so I can actually be able to play through all those. But anyway, guys, that has been all 3 classes for Van Helsing 1. Once I finish Van Helsing 2 with all 3 character classes, or even more, when I get the chance, I will definitely do advanced guides and show you guys some of the more insane abilities that they added to the second game. But I figured I would finish up this class guide video. I know it's what some of you guys are going to be asking. Hey, are you ever going to do you know, Jack and Dexter again. I will be finishing up Jack and Dexter. I haven't forgotten about it. And I'm going to be trying to rummage through other series. Unfortunately, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 will probably not get finished before the new Insomniac Spider-Man comes out, which I'm a little depressed about, but such is life. You know, I kind of figured I wasn't going to, but I'm still going to honor finishing that series at some point. That's the problem. I got all these series running concurrently, so I'm trying to reduce it down to doing 1 or 2, maybe possibly 3 series all at once. So I'm trying to condense, so that way I can focus on one thing at a time. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this guide video, for what it's worth. And guys, take care, have a good one, and as always, I will see you all in the next one. Lewis, if you are still watching this, I will probably be, if you guys want to follow me, I'm going to be basically just doing, like, you know, some lore explanation to Lewis. And, you know what, yeah, I'll be doing some lore explanation to Lewis, and also, so if you guys want to follow that, hear how this world is built, in case you're interested in purchasing this game, then, yeah, just go ahead and follow me to the next video.